Hello students, our today's topic is force and laws of motion. Here we are going to start the chapter force. Firstly, we will see all the topics which we will discuss in this chapter. So first topic is force and its effects. Second is balanced and unbalanced forces. And third topic is Newton's first law of motion, which we also call law of inertia. Next topic is linear momentum, Newton's second law of motion, Newton's third law of motion, and last topic is law of conservation of momentum. But today in this video we will discuss only these two topics: force and its effects, balanced and unbalanced forces. Remaining topics will be discussed in further upcoming videos. So let us start with force. So firstly, what is the definition of force? Definition of force, simply we can define that force is any push or pull that can change the state, any state of body, that is state of rest. That is, if body is in rest, then it can make it move. State of motion, or we can say direction of motion. When we will apply the force on any body, direction will be changed, direction can be changed. And another effects of the force, that it will retard or accelerate the motion of the body. Retard means it can make slow to the body. Retard or accelerate means, as we already studied about this, it can speed up the body, accelerate the body. Moreover, it can change the shape and size of the body. Shape and size of the body. Now let us discuss all these effects of force one by one in detail with some examples. So our first effect is when a force changes the state of rest of a body. That is, if body is in moving in motion, that body is moving, then if we apply a force, that body will come to rest when a force changes the state of rest of body. For example, first example which we can take is very simple. That is, if a ball is at rest, we can make it move by applying it force. When a player will kick the ball, then it will move, that is, it will come in the position of motion. So this is the first example, that if ball is in rest, then by applying a force, it will start moving. Second example which we can take, car. If car is in rest, then how will we change the its state of rest? Then the engine of car will apply the force on car and car will start moving. So these are, when we are applying the force, engine is applying the force. Here by applying the kick, we are applying the force to ball, then it will change its state of rest and will come in the state of motion. So in this way, force can change the state of rest of a body to the state of motion of a body. Second example, when a force brings a moving object to the rest. Here, if a body is moving and we have to make it in a rest, then for example, here force will also work. For example, moving bus stops. Moving bus will stop when force is applied by brakes. Here brakes are applying the force, and it's a state of that when body is moving, and it will come in the state of rest by applying the force through the brakes. Second example which we can take, football rolling on a ground. Football rolling on a ground. This football will stop on its own due to the frictional force exerted by the ground. After a particular time, the ball will be stopped because ground will exert a force of friction. Here force is applied by ground, that is frictional force. This frictional force will change its state of motion. So these are the two important examples which explains that force can bring a moving object to the rest. Next, third case comes when a force changes the speed and direction of motion of a body. Here very simple example which we can take, force exerted by a player on a football rolling in some direction. Football already is rolling in some direction, but when a player will apply a force on this rolling football in any other particular direction, then its direction will be changed. Direction will be changed. So here player will apply the force and direction will be changed, and moreover speed may also increase or decrease depending upon the direction of force. Its speed, it can be speed up or slow down, and it depends on the force which a player has applied, and also it depends on the direction which is changing due to the force. So here we have discussed these three cases. Now come to the fourth case, when a force changes the shape of the body. Shape of the body can be changed by applying force. The best example of this effect is in our kitchen. Dough ball. When we apply a force on dough ball, its shape is changed and it converts into a chapati. So here force is changing the shape of the dough ball. Another examples which we can take, balloon. When we will press the balloon, will apply the force on balloon, then its shape will be changed. Another example which we can take, rubber band. When we will apply the force on rubber band and when we will stretch it, then its shape will be changed. Another example which we can take here, spring. When we will apply a force by attaching a weight with the spring, then its shape will automatically changed. So here we can see that force can also change the shape of a body. So we have discussed all these effects where force is affecting the certain positions of the body, shape of the body, its rest to motion. It can convert from motion to rest. Now some important facts about the force. Force is a vector quantity. Vector quantity means it has both magnitude as well as direction. Magnitude means numerical value, and the direction, this is clear from the above examples that in which direction we will apply the force, in that particular direction the changes may occur. So here direction is also important. So here both the terms are applied to the force. So this is the vector quantity and we denote it by the capital F, or we can apply vector on it. Now come to the unit of the force. SI unit of the force is Newton. So we have covered the effects of the force. Now come to the second topic, balanced and unbalanced forces. Now, first of all, before discussing the balanced and unbalanced force, we should know about the resultant force. Resultant force. What is the resultant force? Resultant force is the force which will tell us about the overall effect of the force. For example, if here we take a body and from this direction we apply a force, and from this direction we are also applying a force, and from this direction we are also applying a force, then what will be the overall effect on this body of the force? That will be the resultant force. For example, I am applying the minus 15 Newton force in the positive x direction, in the negative x direction, and 10 Newton force in the positive x direction. Then what will be the total force, that is the resultant force? That will be the, if this is F1 and this is F2, then resultant force will be F1 plus F2, that is 10 Newton plus minus 15 Newton, that is minus 5 Newton. So here 5 Newton force is in minus x direction. So this is the resultant force. Now if we are known about the resultant force, come to the balanced and unbalanced forces. Balanced and unbalanced forces. For balanced forces, resultant force will not be equal to, for balanced forces, resultant force will be equal to 0 for balanced forces. But for unbalanced forces, resultant force will not be equal to 0. There will be some force. For example, if we take the example of game tug of war. In tug of war, if force is applied by the players from this direction is same to the force applied by the players to this direction, then there will be no net resultant force. That rope will remain unaffected. Here force is balanced, that is resultant force will be 0. But if from this direction force applied is more than this direction, then there will be some resultant force. Then force will be unbalanced and there will be effect on the rope, and rope will move towards the direction in which force is applied more. Here resultant force will not equal to 0. So this is the concept of balanced and unbalanced forces. So balanced forces do not cause any change except the shape and size. Remember it, balanced forces can change the shape and size of the object. For example, on a balloon, if we apply the force from both the sides, here force is balanced but shape of the balloon will be changed. So this is all about balanced and unbalanced forces. So in today's topic we have discussed about the definition of force and effects of force and balanced and unbalanced forces. For other topics related to force, stay tuned. Thank you.